The 7 levels of superhero sidekicks. Starting with level 1, the comic reliefs. They're not trained fighters, not tactical geniuses, and definitely not meant to be on the battlefield, but somehow they become the heart of the story. These sidekicks don't save the world. They save the hero from losing their humanity. They're the ones cracking jokes mid-battle, panicking in the background, or asking the questions we'd all ask if we suddenly found ourselves surrounded by gods and aliens. Take Ned Leeds from Spider-Man. He's the definition of this level. No powers, no weapons, just pure loyalty. When Peter's trying to juggle homework, superhero duty, and secret identity chaos, Ned is the one person who keeps him grounded. He calls himself the guy in the chair, and while he might not throw a punch, he's always ready to help. His excitement is contagious, and that's the magic of a true comic relief. They remind us that behind every hero's mask is just a kid trying to survive high school. Then there's Luis from Ant-Man, possibly one of the funniest characters in the MCU. He's always rambling through stories that go absolutely nowhere, yet somehow end up saving the day. His energy keeps the tone light, especially when the main hero is caught up in criminal heists or quantum chaos. Luis is the kind of sidekick who might mess up the plan, but he'll make you laugh while doing it. Or Korg, the lovable rock creature from Thor, Ragnarok. He's literally made of stone, but somehow the softest character in the movie. He talks casually about rebellion, death, and chaos as if he's discussing lunch plans. Korg is proof that humor can make even the darkest battles feel a little lighter. But for every comic relief who stands on the sidelines, there's another kind of sidekick. One who refuses to just watch from the background. They want in on the action, even if they have no idea what they're doing next. Level 2, the tagalongs. The tagalongs are what happens when curiosity meets chaos. They see the hero doing something incredible and think, yeah, I can help with that. Except most of the time they can't. Not really. These are the sidekicks who mean well. They care deeply, they're loyal, but they don't fully grasp the scale of what they're stepping into. Take Darcy Lewis from Thor. She's a political science intern who accidentally stumbles into the life of a literal god. No powers, no armor, not even a clue what's happening most of the time. And yet she's there. She's tagging along with scientists, cracking jokes, asking questions that no one else dares to ask. In Thor: The Dark World, she's in the middle of an alien invasion armed with nothing but a taser and optimism. It's chaotic, it's hilarious, and it's oddly brave. Darcy doesn't fight villains. She faces the unknown with pure curiosity. Or look at Jimmy Olsen, Superman's photographer friend. No powers, no weapons, just a camera and endless determination to follow Superman into danger for a good shot. He's not fighting crime, but he's always there, documenting it, believing in the hero even when the world doesn't. Then there's Harley Quinn, who originally started as the Joker's tag-along in Batman the Animated Series. At first, she was comic relief, loyal, obsessed, blindly following a maniac. But that loyalty became her downfall, until she evolved. Harley's story shows what happens when a tag-along finally realizes they've been following the wrong person. Without tag-alongs, many heroes wouldn't question themselves or see how insane their lives have become. The tag-alongs hold up a mirror to the hero's world, showing just how weird and dangerous it really is. But not every sidekick stays clueless forever. Some of them learn, some train, and some start realizing they might have what it takes to stand beside the hero, not just watch from behind. Level 3, the learners. Every great hero starts somewhere, and the learners are proof that sidekicks aren't born ready. They grow into greatness. This is the level where the sidekick stops being a spectator and starts becoming a student. They've got potential, passion, and sometimes even power, but they still need guidance. Someone to shape that raw energy into purpose. The learners are the apprentices, the trainees, the ones who mess up but never stop trying. They're driven by admiration and ambition, and it's that combination that makes them so relatable. They're constantly caught between two worlds, still figuring themselves out while trying to live up to someone else's legacy. Take Shuri from Black Panther. She's one of the smartest minds in the Marvel Universe, a tech genius responsible for designing everything from Black Panther's suit to Wakanda's advanced systems. But beneath the sarcasm and confidence, she's still learning from her brother, T'Challa. She may not fight beside him in every battle, but she's part of the reason he wins them. Her growth is subtle. She's not trying to replace her brother. She's trying to understand him. And eventually, when tragedy strikes, we see that she learned more from him than she ever realized. Then there's Bucky Barnes in his early days with Captain America. Before the serum, before the Winter Soldier, he was just Steve Rogers' friend who wanted to protect the guy who couldn't protect himself. But as their roles reversed and Steve became Captain America, Bucky learned what it meant to fight for something bigger than himself. Their dynamic flipped, yet that respect never disappeared. That's what makes Bucky's story so human. He's not just a soldier, he's a friend learning what true heroism costs. Or take Robin under Batman's wing. He's smart, strategic, and observant. Everything Batman values, but still young enough to make mistakes. Batman doesn't make it easy for him either. The lessons are harsh, the training relentless, the expectations nearly impossible. But that's what being a learner means. Enduring the pain of growth until you're capable of standing on your own. What makes this level special is that it's filled with transformation. The learners are never stagnant. You can see them evolve evolve with every failure, every mission, every sacrifice. They might start as rookies, but they leave as something far more dangerous, heroes in the making. And when they finally master what their mentors taught them, the story changes. They stop asking questions. They stop waiting for permission. They stop being the sidekick. Because once you've learned enough, you're ready to fight side by side. Not as a student, but as an equal. Level 4. The soldiers. At this level, the training wheels are gone. The soldier isn't following orders anymore. They're fighting beside the hero. This is where respect replaces mentorship and partnership replaces dependence. The soldier knows the risks, understands the stakes, and stands ready to face them without hesitation. One of the clearest examples is War Machine, Tony Stark's closest ally. James Rhodey Rhodes doesn't have genius-level intellect or billionaire resources, but he has discipline, courage, and an unshakable sense of duty. When Tony suits up, Rhodey is right there beside him. Not as a sidekick, but as a soldier who understands what's at stake. He's the voice of reason when Tony spirals and the steady hand when chaos breaks loose. He fights because it's right, not because he wants the spotlight. Then there's Sam Wilson, the Falcon. Before he ever picked up Captain America's shield, Sam was already a hero, a veteran, a leader, and someone who knows the meaning of sacrifice. He didn't need powers, his strength came from his resolve. When he joined Steve Rogers, it wasn't out of awe, it was out of shared purpose. Their bond wasn't built on hierarchy, it was built on trust, and that trust made them unstoppable. In DC, you see the same dynamic with Speedy and Green Arrow. Speedy trained to be more than a helper, he became a warrior in his own right, matching Green Arrow shot for shot. Their teamwork wasn't teacher and student anymore, it was two equals watching each other's backs. There's something deeper about this level, a quiet understanding that not every battle ends with victory. The soldier knows loss, they've tasted it. They've seen the cost of heroism up close, and that's what makes them strong. They fight not for glory, but for the person standing next to them. And sometimes, that partnership leads to something even greater. Because eventually the hero can't fight forever, and when that time comes, it's the soldier who steps forward to take the mantle. Level 5. The successors. Every hero's story eventually reaches a point where they can't keep fighting forever. Time catches up, battles take their toll, and legends begin to fade. That's when the successors rise. The sidekicks who don't just fight beside the hero, they become them. Nightwing, once Robin, now an icon, is the clearest example of this transformation. Dick Grayson grew up under Batman's shadow, trained by one of the most disciplined and feared heroes alive. But he didn't stay a shadow. He outgrew it. He took Batman's ideals and reshaped them into something more compassionate, more human. As Nightwing, he became a symbol not of fear, but of hope. He doesn't need Gotham's darkness to prove himself. He built his own city, his own name, his own legend. Then there's Bucky Barnes, who evolved from a loyal friend to a broken weapon, and finally to the new Captain America. That journey is what defines a true successor. It's not just about inheriting a name or a shield, it's about earning it through pain, loss, and redemption. When Bucky carries that symbol, it's not just Steve Rogers' legacy, it's a tribute to every battle they fought together and every mistake he overcame. And we can't forget Sam Wilson, another Captain America, but one who carries the shield in a completely new way. Sam doesn't have super strength or enhanced abilities. What he has is conviction. He took a mantle built on one man's image and turned it into a message for everyone. His version of Captain America isn't about power. It's about responsibility, empathy, and standing for those who can't. In the MCU, Kate Bishop mirrors this same theme. She starts as a fangirl, inspired by Hawkeye, and ends up walking in his footsteps. But what makes her a successor is that she doesn't try to be him. She becomes her own kind of hero. She learns from his flaws, not just his skills. Successors are proof that heroism doesn't end with one person. It's a cycle, one that keeps the world moving forward. And while many rise to carry the torch, some stumble under its weight. Because not every sidekick's story ends in triumph. Some break under the burden of the mask, and that's where things turn dark. Level 6. The Fallen. Not every sidekick story ends with glory. Some don't find the light, they lose it. These are the fallen, the ones who gave everything for the hero's cause and were broken by it. The life of a sidekick isn't easy. You train, you fight, you bleed, all while standing in someone else's shadow. The pressure to live up to a hero's ideals, the constant danger, the trauma, it all builds up, and for some it's too much to bear. The perfect example? Jason Todd, the second Robin. He wanted to be like Batman, but the world wasn't kind to him. Jason was reckless, emotional, and too human for Gotham's darkness. And when he was brutally murdered by the Joker, it didn't just scar Batman. It shattered everything Jason believed in. But death wasn't the end. He came back different, angry, disillusioned. As the Red Hood, he didn't see justice the same way anymore. To him, the line between good and evil didn't matter. Only results did. He stopped following Batman's code and started following his own. Jason Todd became a tragic reminder of what happens when the hero's mission consumes the person behind the mask. Another fallen ally is Bucky Barnes. Before he became a successor, he was a victim, a brainwashed assassin known as the Winter Soldier. He was forced to kill for decades. stripped of his will, his identity, his humanity. He wasn't evil and he was lost. His story shows that sometimes the greatest enemy a sidekick faces isn't the villain. It's what the life of a hero turns them into. Even in the Marvel universe, we see characters like Nebula, who began as a loyal warrior under Thanos' command, only to be torn apart, literally and emotionally. Her hero wasn't someone to admire, but someone who destroyed her piece by piece. When she finally broke free, she wasn't the same person, just fragments trying to make sense of what was left. But even in their fall, there's something powerful, a warning. They show us that being a hero isn't about perfection. It's about surviving the pain that comes with it. Some climb back up, others never do. And that's what separates the ones who break from the ones who rise above it all. Because after the fallen, there's only one level left. Level 7. The Legends. These aren't sidekicks anymore, they're icons. The ones who started in someone else's shadow but rose so high, the light now shines from them. They've carried pain, loss, and lessons from every level before, and turned all of it into purpose. The Legends are what every sidekick dreams of becoming. Not copies of their mentors, but something greater. They don't just follow the hero's path, they build new ones. And when people talk about them, they don't say, the partner of, they say their name first. Take Dick Grayson, the very first Robin. He began as Batman's protege, a kid in bright colors fighting crime beside a man of darkness. But Dick's journey was never about staying in Batman's shadow. He grew up, found his own voice, and became Nightwing. A leader, a protector, and eventually a symbol of hope. He didn't reject Batman's legacy, he refined it. Nightwing fights with heart, empathy, and light. Everything Batman struggles to show. That's what makes him more than a successor. That's what makes him a legend. Then there's Bucky Barnes, who went from broken soldier to carrying the title of Captain America itself. Once a weapon, now a leader. His redemption wasn't about erasing the past, and it was about owning it. Taking everything he endured as the Winter Soldier and turning it into strength. That transformation, from sidekick to symbol, is what makes a legend. Or look at Sam Wilson. The Falcon became Captain America not because he was next in line, but because he earned it. He understood that the shield didn't need superpowers and it needed integrity. Sam showed the world that you don't have to be perfect to inspire people. You just have to stand up when it matters most. Even outside the capes and cowls, there are stories like Harley Quinn, once defined by her connection to the Joker, now defined entirely by her independence. She walked away from being a pawn in someone else's story and became the author of her own chaotic empire. A perfect example of how even the most broken sidekick can rise into their own kind of legend. The Legends are proof that every sidekick has potential beyond their beginnings. They're the graduates of the superhero world, mentors, leaders, and inspirations for the next generation. They show that being second once doesn't mean you'll always be second. Sometimes the student becomes the standard, and in the end, that's the true journey, from comic relief to legend, from following the hero to becoming one.